The media's been finding me. They're just I've made these wild claims about the military, Kanye, and they're so specific. They can take it and rip me apart easy. But I told them, misdiagnosed. I said, what happened to him, when, why, and how? It's just, you can't argue with the facts.
Wild, you screamed about Kanye. No one listened to you. And now this article comes out and they're all crawling back. And you're like, well. I'm not crazy. I just collected the data and lived experiences. Almost dying taught me how to live. Being struck by a car left me in a 3.5-week coma with 15 broken bones and 16 surgeries to complete, including brain surgery. However, I woke up from that coma in an even greater place than I ever foresaw for myself. How? The universe will guide you out of the darkness and into the light if you allow it. Often, spirituality comes off as too highbrow. I'm not about that. Welcome to the podcast that talks and teaches about it through the lens of humor. Together, we'll harness positive energy and use it to work with the universe, all while giggling the entire time. Welcome to Gabriella Rebranded. Win most, lose some. All right, guys, today we have a really important episode that is actually a re-record because there was an issue with tech. But today we have a really important episode. My guest here today is William Person, a former Olympic bobsledder on Team USA for 9 years. But where that left William was with debilitating CTE, which I'm not going to even try to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Could you say it?
Let me see if I can do it today. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
You did it!
It's a good day for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, brain injuries, we struggle with pronunciation of complicated words. But CTE has recently become a big buzzword in the world of athletics and specifically concussions. And unfortunately, a lot of athletes suffer from CTE. William was in immense pain. You were suicidal. You were extremely depressed. You didn't even have clarity to your vision. You did not want to go on. But then you discovered a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. And the hyperbaric oxygen chamber sort of reset everything and brought you back to as close to functioning as you could possibly be with a brain injury.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. Today, William is here to talk about the effects of the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. There will be a link to the GoFundMe in the show notes so that William is actually on a mission to start his own rehab center for people with head injuries free of cost and give them access to the hyperbaric chamber. Yeah. With that, let's hear from you, William.
Yeah. By the way, you talked about depression. I had no idea I was depressed.
No idea.
I was praying for death every day. That was my routine, praying for death. Wake up, figure out what day it is, what month it is, how old I really am. I thought I was 28 when I was 40. And then I just praying for death. But I was a counselor at one point, and so I didn't want to leave that trauma on my family.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yes, you say, I remember because we've already recorded this, that your family is what sustained you through the worst of the worst.
The thought of leaving trauma on them. Mm-hmm. But I was like most athletes, we live on our own. We're away from the family. And so my family didn't see me falling apart. I'm trying to explain it to them. But when you tell somebody, say, hey, I think I'm having problems with my memory. I go in the room and I forget what I go in there for. Most people are like, oh, I do that too. So they'll just kind of.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
They'll be like, there's nothing really wrong with you because, they used to us being the superheroes. I'm 220, 6'1", ripped to shreds. And so they think you're always going to be that superhero. So they don't really understand what's going on. But if you watch these NFL players taking their life week by week, it's just, it's the same stuff over and over.
And CTE results from multiple head traumas, so basically multiple concussions.
Absolutely not true.
Oh, not true.
No, and I only noticed because of the journey. I met this housewife one time, and she was frustrated with her doctors because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And she told me her symptoms. I was like, oh, you were an athlete. You had concussions, huh? She was like, no. And I know there's a whole ton of women out here now and men who domestic violence victims. They're testing. Yeah, this is not limited to athletes. There's so many people domestic violence is causing
veterans.
CTE.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I asked her, I said, hey, was your husband violent? She says, no. And we talked for a little while, and then eventually, right before we parted ways, she told me, oh, I remember one time I was snowboarding with my son, and she said, I fell backwards and my arm seized up. I was like, bingo, that's the problem. First of all, you didn't tell your doctor about that, and even if you did, they can't find that.
They can't, yeah.
Yeah, they can't find it.
Can't they not see if you have CTE until after you die?
Yeah, when they dissect
and
the
they
brain.
look at the brain. Yeah.
But there's ways of seeing it. Like I I diagnosed Kanye West.
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
You told me.
Yeah.
Yes, like a few days before when we recorded the first time, you told me that Kanye West seems like he has a TBI, he has head trauma, because he was in a car accident like right before he got really famous. And sure enough, a few days later, after you said that to me, an article came out that Kanye had a severe TBI, or not severe because he didn't have brain surgery, but moderate TBI that was undiagnosed. So he never sought treatment for it, and he never had meds or anything like that.
Well, yeah, and another thing, I posted that thing 6 months ago before we here. I posted that thing online.
That you Kanye West, probably, yeah. And then it came out.
Yeah, so now the media, I was on British live TV and all this stuff. They've been calling me. Now they're trying to find out, how's this guy figuring it out? Because what CT really is, like, I'm gonna give you the bombshell here. But last time we spoke, I still hadn't connected all the dots. But it's in all of us. Anybody who's ever hit their head, it's really, you have a 10-year ticking time bomb. That's how my formula works. I have a formula that I apply, and it's so accurate that it's scary. Once you get the right hit, you got 10 years. You're going to have symptoms in between that time, but it's going to be manageable. You're just going to minimize it, just like most of us did. When you get to that 10-year period, something's going to be really wrong. You're going to know something's wrong, but that next 4 to 6 years, you're going to become either suicidal or homicidal. And that's what this is. And so the same way I diagnosed Kanye, I did the same thing with the military. I did the unthinkable. I posted. I said, you guys are wrong. PTSD is real, don't get me wrong. But underneath that PTSD, what's really going on is CTE, because I followed the symptoms. And I was like, they're gonna be really mad at me for this one. But the veteran group treatnow.org found me. And they was like, Will, you're 100% right. Can you help us? And so what we've been doing is we go state to state, changing legislation, so veterans in that state can get the hyperbaric oxygen treatment they need. So we got 13 states right now.
Okay.
And it's such a simple treatment, like, to reverse it. For me, it was 1 hour in the chamber. I could see colors again. It's really that quick and that simple. 30 days maximum. If you're going to get better, you're going to get better in 30 days, and not, like, I don't take any meds. I don't.
Oh, really?
Absolutely none.
Okay.
And I'm as clear as I'm probably ever going to be. Okay. I still got a couple little glitches. If you give me 3 questions, I'm probably going to answer half of one of them. If you give it to me all at once, my brain still processes a little slower.
Yeah.
But this thing is a plague of our lifetime.
I need to get myself in one.
Most diseases that make us sick is what? Inflammation diseases.
Well, actually, he does a lot of things. He's a chiropractor, he's a physical therapist. But he came on this podcast in season 1, episode 5, Dr. Jackson Bates. Amazing episode.
How do you get a memory like that? You just said season 1, episode.
Yes.
You're doing pretty good.
For my podcast, yes. But he's incredible, and he has an hyperbaric oxygen chamber that he bought for a relative, and he wants to open sort of like a studio in Los Angeles that's kind of like a fitness and wellness studio, and offers treatment like that, and he'll have the hyperbaric oxygen chamber in it. So he told me, he was like, when I start doing that, you can use it. And I was like, yes. I got one just on the other side of the valley if you ever want to use one. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The invites. I need one, so might be in touch. Yeah. But just for the listeners, can you just explain a little bit what CTE is?
Well, CTE is, I think the medical community has it wrong.
Yeah.
From me following the symptoms. And I'm not here to be arrogant. I've just had to live it. And I was on the ground praying for death, and I found my way back. What it is, it's like any injury you ever get in your body, you get swelling, you get inflammation. And so for 72 hours, you're icing and compressing it to get that out of the muscles. No matter what muscle you hurt, it's going to get swelling. Well, a brain injury is really, a concussion is inflammation on the brain. And what they always tell us to do is just don't go to sleep for a few hours. That's really the only treatment you get for most people, especially going back past the last 2 or 3 years. And so you have inflammation that's sitting on the brain there. And I believe it begins to fester because it's sitting there. And eventually you're going to get to that point where you begin to hate life. And so it's no different than any other injury. It's the inflammation. You have to remove it. And the only way to remove it is 2 ways. You can either do what the British military are doing now. They go down in the ocean and they
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about this.
Yeah. Matter of fact, every time I get in hyperbaric chamber, it's called a dive. I'm simulating what they're doing naturally. Okay. So you can go down the ocean and stay down there for 2 hours, which I'm not a fan of. I'm afraid of sharks. I'm
terrified of sharks. I will never do that.
Yeah. Or you can get in a hyperbaric chamber for an hour.
Okay.
Hour a day or 2 hours a day, whichever one you choose. and it's going to remove that information. And,
Okay.
and matter of fact, the first time I was in the chamber, like 1 hour later, like I could see colors again. And then over the next few hours, I was, man, that 10 years of cloudiness I had was gone. And it began to wear off after 6 days. I went back again, and then I had 9 days of clarity. And at that point, I had to buy one. And I've been treating with one ever since.
And just walk the audience through your journey of your time as an athlete, the times you got hurt, the symptoms of CTE, and then finding this chamber.
Okay, that's too many questions at once.
Okay, so let's
just you're gonna get no answers on
that. Okay, you're right, and you just said that. Walk through just your journey as an athlete and the injuries you sustained.
Okay, before we get to the best part is what saved me. When I was 23, I worked at this place, a really weird place. It was the first mental health facility in the state of California. That was west of the Mississippi River. So all extreme behaviors came there. And so these doctors would come through with, like, if you see somebody doing anything bizarre on the street, that's what they bring them to us to be evaluated.
Okay.
If they stay bizarre, they get a 72-hour hold or 5150, which means something's wrong. We need to check them out. And so I learned watching people with depression, schizophrenia, bipolar. We had people with they scramble the brain up there. Oh my God, what are those people? Lobotomies.
Lobotomies.
Yeah, they were around there, and we had the criminally insane who will come through for court sometimes. So I was 23 watching this stuff, and eventually I opened my own treatment facility for kids. I was the first ever independent living transitional housing program in the state of Utah. It was such an innovative new thing that they opened me as a pilot program.
Okay.
So that's my background. Mental health was my background. So when I joined Team USA, I had already been open for 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And I was a bobsledder. I was just traveling the world, racing with Team USA, racing America's Cup, World Cup, World Championships, and eventually I had my first crash 2 weeks before the Salt Lake City Winter Olympic Games.
Okay.
Over in St. Moritz, Switzerland. Matter of fact, there's a video right now floating around about the bobsledders. They all fell off the sled, and the driver went down by himself. It was on that track. That's where I had my first crash.
Okay.
And so my brakeman on that day was knocked unconscious. I had some really nasty vertigo. And they told us to go back to the hotel and don't go to sleep for a few hours. And this guy was unconscious, and I had vertigo. And so I always say, who was supposed to watch you?
Yeah,
I couldn't even sit up in the bed without the room spinning for about a week. And matter of fact, I remember walking down the hallway. I was walking kind of sideways like a crab. And I felt like, okay, I'm just doing this for attention. Like, I can really walk straight, but I really couldn't walk straight,
Yeah,
and that's
who was supposed to watch who?
Yeah, who was supposed to watch you? Yeah, and so, that's how it started. And when my symptoms kicked in, like, I didn't see it coming because I thought it was low blood sugar because that's why this whole thing is about misdiagnosis. Kanye misdiagnosed. The military misdiagnosed. The housewives misdiagnosed. The NFL players misdiagnosed. Mental health issues. Not mental health. These guys are millionaires. They have everything. They've lived a great life. They're living a great life, and then they just kill themselves. It's a physical injury. And so I start seeing them patterns. I'm sorry, I'm about to lose your question there.
No, you're fine. I just said your journey as an athlete and when symptoms started occurring. So you're basically answering my question.
Okay. I'll tell you one of my biggest symptoms. I remember I went back to see some friends in Salt Lake. I hadn't been home in a while. So we were out shooting pool, and my buddy was like, hey, man, there's your girlfriend's coming, your ex-girlfriend. And I looked over, I said, she's pretty, but I don't know her. And she sprints over to me like a Hollywood movie. And she jumps in my arms, and I catch her, and we like spin in a circle like it. And I realized I don't know who she is. Like,
and she was your ex-girlfriend of how many years?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really could. Yeah, I was not remembering faces. And I was still racing on the Olympic team at that time. I still had 4 or 5 more years left at that point. And I was piling. God. Yeah, and what I know now is like every time I went down that track, we were getting those micro concussions or the big concussions. But every time I went down that track, we were pulling like extreme G-forces, like more than fighter pilots. And I didn't know that at the time because one time we do VIP rides. We have people, special people come out. One time we had the fighter pilots. They pull a little bit more G's than us. I did 7 rides that day. They did 1. And after that ride was over, they were rattled. And I could not understand that. It didn't make sense to me. But if you ask any celebrity who's ever been on their track, they just did a thing with Kelsey, Jason Kelsey.
Jason Kelsey.
They did Colin from Saturday Night Live. He just did one.
Colin Jost?
Yeah. It's online. They show him they did him dirty. They didn't show him out. His head is just like, He probably got a concussion right now because his neck was just being like a rag doll.
Oh,
It was,
Cullen.
yeah, it was horrible. But yeah, you have to teach them how to tuck their neck in. It's a lot of things you have to do to protect yourself. They didn't tell them. As a matter of fact, I took Cameron Diaz on a ride one time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. If she ever sees me, she probably going to punch me in the nose. But I made sure I picked the best driver in the country at the time for her to go down when I picked the best. She was in a great sled. But when she got out, she was speechless. All she could say was, it was rough. That's all she can get out, rough. But it's such a brutal sport. But what I know now, like, I started this just trying to help my teammates because I was dying. I didn't think I had much time left. And so when I filed a class action lawsuit, I asked for transparency. I said, warn the new generation about, because there's so many of my teammates dying and committing suicide. And I said, just got to warn those guys what's down the road for them if they do it.
Yeah.
And then take care of the guys who still here who need help. That's all I asked for. I didn't say, give me $1 million, give me anything. Will didn't ask for anything for himself.
Yeah.
And so they're to
purely
this day.
Selfless, yeah.
Yeah, they'll still fighting me on that right now to this day. Next court hearing is 2 weeks, March 11th, I believe. Yeah.
You said that you noticed in this year's Olympics, they're not showing the bobsled crashes.
No, they didn't show any of them. One country, one guy still, I think he was still in the hospital last time I checked. I forgot what country, might have been Austria, but there was at least 3 or 4 crashes.
And they didn't show them.
They didn't show them. Usually they show the carnage. They didn't show it, and they actually mentioned
because people
TBIs.
love trauma porn. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, usually they mention the TBIs. Before, they never mentioned TBI until I forced this.
Okay.
Like, I'm really forcing it on them. Like this case would have been over a long time ago. All they had to do was just warn athletes. That's number one thing. I said that's the only thing non-negotiable.
Just tell them, you have free will, walk into it if you choose to walk into it, but just give the warning. Yeah.
But they can't just say concussion, because if I had known what my concussion was, like, in a few years, every day I wake up, I don't know the right day. I had a calendar every day I wake up. I had to figure out what day it is. Then I got to figure out what month we're in. Because with CTE, you live in a loop. Like, I always thought it was January or August. Every day. I thought I was 28. I left Team USA when I was 37. I won my last U.S. National Championship at 36. I retired that year. That summer, I turned 37. I thought I was still 28. So anybody asked me how old I was, I said 28. And I was almost 40. And even when I was in my 40s, young ladies come up to me, how old are you? I'm 28. So they probably think I'm some kind of pervert or something. But no, I really thought I was 28.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And it took for my teammate to call me one day, Pavle.
I was going to remind you that we'd be remiss if we didn't mention him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's the reason why this started.
Yeah.
He called me. He wanted to be a writer. And I was writing projects at the time.
What's his full name? Just want to give him.
Pavle Jovanovic.
Okay.
Yeah, he called me. He wanted to be a writer. And so he would call me with these crazy ideas about movies. And they were so weird, and I've never seen it before. I'm like, man, that's a great idea. And at the time, my producing partner, he owned the Ninja Turtle franchise. Those are his movies. He's one of the lead producers on it. And
Donatello.
Yeah, I was waiting to introduce him, and come on, these are awesome. These are high concept stuff. But the last time he called me, he was speaking gibberish. And I realized, like, the stuff he was talking to me about before, he was out of his mind. His mind had already slipped. Mm-hmm. And because after that phone call, I said, something's wrong, I gotta help him. And because I used to run some of the celebrity rehabs here in Malibu. Like, I used to run some of those things. I used to own one. I used to work for a lot of them. So I got to help my friend, right? He's struggling. I did absolutely nothing other than think about it all day. And then eventually I got the word he went to his family's factory and he hung himself. And then, like, the guilt for me was just crippling. Like, I couldn't get out through the day without just losing it a little bit. Until I realized when his autopsy report came out, he was in stage 4. So there's nothing I did was going to help him. But also, I was living on the floor of my own apartment. I had an apartment down there in Tarzana. And, like, I was there just suffering. And I didn't know I was depressed. Like, I didn't know that I was struggling. I just knew I got low blood sugar. That's why the misdiagnosis thing is so huge. Most people in this country probably suffering from this, but it's being misdiagnosed because the symptoms look so similar to everything else. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the misdiagnosis you received, low blood sugar, were there any other misdiagnosis you received, or was it just basically that one?
Well, first of all, the doctors kept telling me I didn't have diabetes, so I was only misdiagnosed in myself.
Okay, you're misdiagnosed.
Yeah, usually there's no diagnosis.
Okay.
You tell people, you go to the doctor, I'm not feeling right, something's off. they're asking you, what are you going through right now? They're missing a big point. The big point is, where were you 5 to 10 years before? Because there's a gestation period with this thing. It has to brew. And then as it starts to fester, then the problems show up. And so if you look at, they say 60%, of the inmates have untreated head injuries. It makes sense. Why so much violence in prisons? Why we have so many in the prisons? We have, they say 31% of the mass shooters are veterans. I believe it's a lot higher.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you look at all the mass shooters in the country, there's 3 categories I've narrowed it down to. It's the veterans, then you have people with head conditions, which the veterans also have the same head condition, but I still put them in separate groups. And that third group is like radicalized people and mental health. But their symptoms are very similar to the rest. So I believe there's still a connection in there that I just really haven't. It's so heavy right now. Like I just can't explore it all myself. But if you look at every mass shooting that happens, check his background. He's either was in the war, exposed to the compression blast, or he had a bad car accident or some type of concussive issue. And that's really what those 2 populations are. And so it's affecting all of us. This is really the pandemic of our lifetime because they're all looking at each issue separately, looking at the NFL players, then the bobsledders, and the hockey players,
the veterans,
soccer, the veteran. Everybody looking at this. When you take that deep breath and take a step out and look at all the symptoms, then you'll find the studies out there. All of them have CTE. It's all been diagnosed in every single group at a high rate.
Yeah. And finally, a little bit more of a conversation is starting about it, and that's basically because you're making the conversation start.
Yeah, this is really the pandemic of our life. Like, if you think COVID was bad, no, like all the violence that we're watching and the suicides are really directly tied to this.
CTE.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're just not checking all the brains, but all the brains they are checking, the studies are there.
The studies are
but
there.
But they're not, just like they wanted to silence me, they didn't want me talking about it. Like, I'll give you a crazy one. The other night, I came home, me and my girlfriend went out for a little walk. I get home, my fire alarm's going crazy. It's blaring. So we called the maintenance. It was late. They said, well, just take the battery out. So I take it off the wall. It's hardwired into the wall. So I unplug it, still blaring. I can't get to the battery. So I wrap it in 2 towels and put it outside under the cushion. I said, okay. So in the morning, the maintenance comes by. They put a new one up there. I give them the old one. They said, hey, this is not ours. What are you doing with this? I said, I took it off the wall. He said, this is Bluetooth. We don't have Bluetooth. He said, look at all the rest of these in-house. They don't look nothing like this. I said, well, I didn't put it up there.
Yeah.
And so he walks out. My girlfriend comes home. And I tell her, that thing was Bluetooth. They don't know where it came from. And she said, like somebody was listening. And I went, oh, snap. Wait. So I ran down there to get it. And the maintenance man was smashing it up looking for cameras and microphones. He said, because it was so suspicious. He said, as soon as he got it away from my unit, it stopped making that noise. And so people do not want me talking about this. There's a producer at CAA who was talking about a documentary. And he sent me the email. He said, this is, like, after he was pitching it for us, first of all, I warned him. I said, my life might be online for talking about this. I don't know. Maybe I'm being paranoid. But he sent me the email back a few months later. He said, this is not safe material. There's a lot of big forces who want to keep this a secret. They don't want this, So this, me talking about it. But what I'm doing now, I'm treating the veterans. So, veterans, I'm rolling with those guys. I'm helping them guys. And so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, big pharma and insurance companies, they unfortunately run this country in a lot of ways, and they don't want cures for certain things getting out there because they want to profit off of human health.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's really disgusting.
And that's why I'm opening up my center. I'm officially a 501c3, guys. We're looking for partners, but like, we already have the buildings with location. We have the infrastructure now. We just need a little money for the build outs and equipment.
Okay.
And so we need you guys.
Okay.
Trust me, guys, you heard my story. I was in dementia. Look me up online. This is not made up. This is real. I was in dementia. I didn't know it until I came out. I was depressed. I didn't know it until I came out of it. Like, was I praying for death every day? Yeah, you would think, okay, you can make that. No. When you're going through it, you cannot see what you're doing. That's why you're watching all these NFL players either killing themselves or killing other people. They can't see what they're doing that's so bizarre. And most people can't. Same thing with our veterans, all the athletes, the housewives who get battered up and then now they're acting bizarre. They're finding it in them as well. So the people ask, how come they stay? Well, now we know.
Yeah.
CTE. You're not really aware of your surroundings anymore. You just become this vessel. You're just kind of existing. You're kind of in your own little world.
And to be clear, CTE head trauma, it's not an excuse for committers of violence. It's not an excuse for mass shooters, but it is an explanation for those. And I'm sure there are some mass shooters out there, a decent number who they have never had anything go on with their head, but it is an explanation for a lot of them. And that's different than an excuse.
Well, you can never excuse harming anybody, but they have no concept of a lot of them have no concept of what they're doing.
No concept of what they're doing. Yeah.
And I only know that because I lived on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And until I came out of it, like I saw doctors for years tell them, hey man, I'm cloudy, I'm confused, I think it's diabetes. They tell me, oh no, it's not diabetes, but they're not telling me what it really is. They're not telling me you're in dementia. Like,
well, I think they probably didn't know. I feel like the field of neurology it's gotten a lot of improvement in recent years. That in the last 10 years, it's improved so much, but it still is really, really behind.
This has been the last 10 years. Like, I didn't find hyperbaric oxygen until 2022. I was still seeing doctors for this stuff until 2023 and 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when did you leave Team USA? What year?
2007.
So 2007, you left Team USA, and you were still seeing doctors for this up until 2023, 2024.
I'm still, even to this day.
Today you're still seeing.
Even right now, the problem is like, now that they understand what my condition is, I got peers. Like my driver from the World Championship, Stephen Holcomb, he's won any Olympic medal for men that's been won since 2003. It was him. He committed suicide at the Olympic Training Center. My other teammate, Pavle, he killed himself after calling me, and and there's been many others, and there's many other suicide attempts, Parkinson's, seizure, stroke. These just are Olympic athletes, and so now that I have the information specifically, I know what this is. So when I talk to my primary refers me to a neurologist. Yeah. When they call to set the appointment, they ask me, okay, what's the issue? When I tell them specifically, well, I know what it is now. They all told me the same thing. Don't come here. We can't help you. So to this day, no one in my insurance plan has been able to see me, except for one doctor I found outside. He helped the NFL guys. I went to see him. He gave me a Zoloft. That's all he gave me was a Zoloft. I failed every test he gave me. They give you a word and ask you a couple questions and tell you to repeat that word. And then I couldn't do it. And then he said, okay, remember this word. And then he asked me one thing. Okay, what was that word? I was failing everything miserably. He gave me a Zoloft. And then that Zoloft, I had a deal. I made a deal with myself. Listen, I said, God, I know if I kill myself, I'm going to leave that trauma on my family, so I can't do it. But you can come get me any day, and I hope that day will be today. So that was my prayer every day. Please come get me. I just can't.
Yeah. That's what I for a while after my accident, I thought the exact same thing where I said, I don't have a plan to commit suicide. Like, I'm not going to do that. But if I was hit by another car, that would be A-okay with me. Yeah. So I know how that feels.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah.
But when they gave me that Zoloft, that deal, every window I looked at looked like a swimming pool to me. Every window, I wanted to just jump through it. And the sad part is I told myself what I used to tell all my clients. Like, whenever you have a new man, they said they're not feeling good or bad, we say, hey, you know what? It takes a little time to build up your system. You got to give it time. Wrong answers, man. Wrong. That's what they teach us to teach them.
Yeah.
And here I am teaching it to myself. And I tell you, everyone that I looked at looked like a swimming pool. And I just wanted to just go. And I had to stop. I mean, I just cold turkeyed it, just stopped it. And then I went back to baseline. Okay, guys, you can come get me when you want to. I'm not going to kill myself. Yeah. And so that's how I also figured out what was wrong with Kanye. He always talked about meds in all his interviews, talking about these meds that made him sick. That was the first red flag for me. And then I listened to his story. And I remember watching it in the theater. And but I told people for years he wasn't bipolar. I said he might be schizophrenic, but not bipolar. I know what that looks like. And he's not him. Mm-hmm. So when I'm watching this documentary in the theater, I was doing the numbers. And he got diagnosed bipolar at 40. And I was like, that's like, no way. Impossible.
That's a late bipolar diagnosis.
Yeah. You're going to get that at 19, 20, maybe 25. You ain't going to make it to 40. That's just not really
Yeah.
Is it possible? Possible. But then I started doing the math. I was like, okay, 40? And then the mad thing, and I'm watching his behaviors. He's so up and down, erratic, then he's calm. All the NFL players, all the wives will tell you the same thing. Their spouses were doing that. Veterans, that's why they all wound up living separate from their wives, because of that behavior. And I was thinking, wow, this guy had a concussion, but he's a rapper. How could he have a concussion? Then that song, Spit Through the Wire, just jumped out at me. Like, I can't really remember lyrics to many songs, but I remember him talking about having a concussion. No, he said, he never said concussion. He said he had an accident, his jaw was broken, it was in the back of his mouth.
Yeah.
And I screamed in the theater. I said, bingo! People looking at me like, what
And you
is
said,
this? Yeah.
That's it. And then sure enough, like, they were like, hey, he had a traumatic brain injury, but he was undiagnosed. In the article I read, it said that you sent me, it said he was diagnosed in 2023. His accident was, I forget what year.
2002.
2002. And he was
remember my formula.
Yeah.
There's a 10-year period.
Mm-hmm.
Things gonna get really bizarre. Then you got another 4 to 6 years where you're gonna be suicidal, homicidal, or just doing. Remember, the veterans are shooting people because that's what they learn to do in the military. That's what they fixate
That's
on.
what they're
shooting.
taught. Yeah.
Yeah. Athletes are gonna harm themselves, harm other people. That's what they taught. Harm people. That's what they focus on. His weapon is his mouth. And that's what if he didn't have that mouth, he would be dead already. I'll guarantee it. His mouth
bullshit.
is his weapon. Yeah, that's what you've been seeing. It's his mouth is his weapon.
Yeah.
And that's why you see him saying that's, and I don't blame him. I feel sorry for him because I know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
But he still got it wrong. He still thinks he's bipolar, which means he's gonna crumble again soon.
Yeah. And I will say that now that they know about his head, finally, but now that they know about it, it's definitely a little where it's like you have the access to the best healthcare. Like you've access to better healthcare than I have, than better healthcare than you have. Like you've access to the absolute best healthcare. And I feel like he's taking all of it and just like essentially throwing it out the window. That he's still
No, he's doing what they told him to do.
Yeah.
That's not his fault he was misdiagnosed.
Yeah.
It's not his fault that they gave him no meds that make you sicker. If he tells you on the box, if you take this pill.
It wasn't his fault then, but I'm saying now that he has the diagnosis.
He has a diagnosis, but who's telling him what to treat? Who's treating him?
His doctors, yeah.
It's still the same problem.
Yeah.
And remember that's the biggest point. He's a billionaire and he still hasn't figured it out yet. So how does that reflect on the rest of us? And a matter of fact, when I was in dementia, I'm walking to my doctor's office a mile from my house. Some days I was afraid to drive. And because I didn't want to hurt anybody because I get cloudy on. So I would walk. And so eventually, as I got stronger, after I'm using hyperbaric oxygen, I'm finding my way back. My doctor told me, are you sure you want to keep using that thing? It's dangerous. Like, what's the alternative? Me going back? And so, like, these doctors aren't educated on what this really is and how it's working. But if you look at the military, they're doing it now. They understand what it is. They're doing it over in Israel. They have big chambers. 48 people can get in there at once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the world is catching up now, but it's just taking people like me. Like, I found out about it by accident because, like, I still was thinking I had diabetes or, whatever it was.
You didn't know, yeah?
No, I didn't know. And then when my teammate killed himself and he was in stage 4, now I'm looking up stage 4 of CTE. Now my algorithm on my phone changed and Joe Namath's video showed up. So Joe Namath actually saved my life.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know him. He's an old football head from the 60s. The first flamboyant quarterback. Remember, he was on the sidelines before I was born with fur coats on, He's the beginning of the flamboyant football player.
I love that.
Yeah, he saved my life because he gave me the knowledge to try it. And I didn't think it was going to work because...
Oh, so he also had CTE and a hyperbaric oxygen chamber
Yeah, but he had a team of doctors that treated him. And matter of fact, they named a branch of the hospital after him in Florida. Here I am. All my social media, if you want to find me, it's called One Man with a
Chamber.
Yeah, because I'm one man with a chamber sharing my experiences. And so when I first started, I was just teaching people the details of using it, the ups and downs, because Joe Namath didn't leave that for us. He just said it reverses symptoms. He didn't say what his symptoms were, how it helped, how it didn't help. And so I'm just trying to help people so they don't go through what I'm going through. And then eventually when I got stable, I said, hey, wait a minute. You can live with this thing. And so now the nature's kind of changed. Now I help people learn to live with it and take all the potholes out the way. That, like, I've stepped in so many potholes. It was ridiculous. During COVID, I bought 4 cars for some reason. Like, that's why you will look at the NFL players.
Yeah.
When they leave the league, they're always broke within 4 years. This is why. Same thing with me. I was going broke because I was making poor decisions. Every time I bought this car, I felt like I had to have it for some reason. Oh, it's electric. Okay, now I'm gonna protect the economy because now I'm gonna get no gas. Then I bought a lake house to go die in, and then it's got a gravel road. It's a private road. So and so now I need a SUV now because I'm living on a gravel road. It's always some reason.
There was always some reason.
You gotta And only thing that saved me on that. During COVID, it was a shortage of cars. And so every time I got ready to switch cars, only one time I got beat up a little bit on it. But the rest of them, like I didn't sink too bad, but I lost a little bit of money here.
Yeah. I know that when I had my injury and I don't know if it was when I was leaving the hospital, some point in therapy, who knows, we go through a lot. But I remember that one of the things they told me that the biggest warning they told my parents about was impulsive spending.
Duh.
And they're like, she can absolutely start impulsively spending. Keep an eye on that. Yeah. And that is why I'm almost 28 and my dad still sees all my credit card statements.
Nice.
Because he's like, I'm making sure. Yeah,
and that's the thing. Yeah. I tell everybody, it's your loved ones who's going to save you. It's because you can't do it alone.
It's your loved ones.
It's the loved ones.
It's your loved ones. I say all the time, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be doing any of this. I wouldn't recover the way I had if it wasn't for my family.
Yeah.
My mom, especially, my dad, my lovely father, my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. Like for most athletes, we're kind of isolated.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really have that until it showed up at the right time, though.
Yeah. Well, my family lives in New York, so I was here. Okay. So I'm isolated in that sense. But when my family is family, and when my accident came out, my mom was here for the entire time I was in the hospital. My dad and brother came out a few times.
Yeah.
Then I went back. I recovered for the most part in New York. And then once I moved back to LA, in the beginning, my mom was out here every month. Every month. Now now we don't need that anymore.
Right.
But in the beginning it was every month my mom or my dad or someone was out here.
But you're different because remember you had one accident that caused this.
I had one accident, yes.
For the athletes and people with who had the one injury, it's slow progression.
It's slow progression, which is very different. And what's very different because it's slow. And then what's also different regarding me is that I'm lucky is I need a brain surgery. They were like, oh, she needs brain surgery. We brought her in. We did it. So many athletes, or not athletes, victims in general, because it's a progression of moderate just being stacked on, they don't know right away that there's something with the brain they need to check up on. And I do know someone who was in a car accident, was also hit by a car a while ago, very long time ago. And she had so many other issues with other things going on in her body that they completely ignored the head because she didn't have a brain bleed. She didn't need brain surgery.
Yeah.
And now 10 years later, she's making a bit of erratic decisions. She's losing some vision.
How long you say?
Like 10 years, yeah.
What's my formula?
10 years.
There you go.
Yeah, she's having issues with vision, issues with headaches, and like all kinds of issues like that. And they're like, oh my God, she had a moderate head injury and we didn't realize because we were focused on everything else.
Yeah. And that's also a lot of the misdiagnosis with this thing because if you have the head injury and once it starts to fester, it affects your gut health. It affects your central nervous system. You start having aches and pains in different places. And there's nothing wrong with those areas. It's all coming from the brain.
Yeah.
And so, that's why this thing is so misdiagnosed because they're looking at all the wrong things.
All the wrong things.
Yeah, the medical community needs to figure out, like when you're having those problems, where were you 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years ago.
That's really what and the only people who are going to see that is the loved ones because you see it every time. I hate to say this, but anytime somebody does something awful that's on the news, they always say the same thing. Oh, all of a sudden they just weren't acting like themselves. It's the same thing over and over. And so the same thing, only your loved ones are going to know when you're not acting like you because the police are not going to know when they have an interaction with you. Nobody's going to know. It's only going to be the people around you who know you. When they can see when your behavior changes. But then they have to ask, where were they 5 to 10 years before? And that's really the true answer.
Yeah, 5 to 10 years. Unfortunately, the reality is, and take this as I'm taking this as an opportunity to interject this. A lot of stomach issues and eating issues relate back to both head injuries and also just trauma in general.
Yeah.
So if you have a lot of stomach issues that you can't figure out and you don't really know what's going on, and you had a head accident a little bit ago, or you just have a really bad trauma, emotional or physical, look into that. Look into that, because that is something that I've learned, that a lot of it comes from there. And not like me, myself, have learned, but from reading books and stuff, I've learned that.
So where's the emotional trauma? Where you hold that at, though? In
your head. You hold it in your head.
You didn't let me go through the progression.
Oh, okay.
Is it
go
the
through
hand?
the progression.
Is it in the hand?
Or emotional trauma can start it can be in your shoulders.
It can be in your shoulders, but it comes from the brain. Yeah,
but it all comes from the brain. It can be in your shoulders. It could be in your hand. It could be in your. I hold a lot of mine here. I know some people hold it, but it all stems from this thing.
All stems from it. Yeah, it's all the brain.
Stems are in the brain.
Yeah.
Everything you feel, your brain is telling your body to feel it.
Yeah.
That's why there's phantom limb pain.
Yeah. That's. I still can't process that one. Somebody was telling me about the other day, like the guy had his leg amputated, but he's still having the pain.
Yeah.
But it's gone. Like, how could you?
Because your brain is like, it's still there.
Yeah. Like,
your brain is so powerful. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a little scary, but it's also beautiful, because if we can figure it out more, healing the brain heals so many things. Yeah.
But my opinion of this is, and I'm sticking with it, most things that ail us, I know I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is inflammation in different parts of the body. Most diseases are inflammation. Anything that has itis on it, inflammation. But also with like lupus and most of heart disease is inflammation in different parts of the body. It's the same with the brain.
Mm-hmm.
But we just ignore it in the brain because they usually you don't see the brain swell unless it's something massive.
Yeah, unless you like
surgery.
My situation, which the one thing that brain surgery has going for you over not having brain surgery is that you see everything. You see the swelling, you see all the things, where if it's moderate or mild, you don't.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's still there. And
it's still there.
How do you get it out?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they just usually leave it. And then, and most people, you keep doing the things you've been doing, which is what caused it in the first place. Like for me, keep going down this bobsled track. Football players keep playing football. Hockey players keep playing hockey. Soccer players, actually the biggest sport for CTE is soccer right now.
Soccer, because of the head punting, which is so funny because they call it non-physical contact sport, I think. And it's like, no, it's a lot of physical contact, actually.
It's a lot. It's the biggest CTE sport.
Yeah, it's the biggest.
Soccer.
It's the biggest CTE sport, soccer. So if any of you out there play soccer, no head punting anymore.
Yeah.
No head punting.
And remember, I had the Australian... Some people from the Australian, I want to say the Australian government, because that's not accurate, but they said they just filed the same lawsuit that I filed here for the class action but for the rugby players and football players down there, so much violence and suicides down there as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, rugby's insane. It's football without any equipment. That's wild. Yeah. Why would you put yourself in that position?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're asking me, well, can you come out and can help us with this here? I had the people in Ukraine in the blast zones find me. This was about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the TBI, they've been watching my posts.
Content, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, we're having the same problem with the black ones. They're getting bombed all the time. Can you help us do a partnership with us? And I'm still trying to create the one here. So I'm trying to figure out how to help those guys. But it's the world is waking up. We just had to show people what it really is. And right now, when I started this, I'm one man shouting, hey, fire. Nobody's listening to me. But once I connected all the dots, I'm like, oh my God. Like one night I woke up and I just cried because I was like, God, I know what this is, but how can I stop this? This is already here. This is here. And so I just want to keep talking. Like, this is probably be one of my last podcasts. Remember, I shut it down a few weeks back, and now I'm just raising funds just to open up.
Raising funds, yeah. Well, I'm glad I could get you in again for a last one.
Oh, I had to come back because I dropped you a nugget. I told you Kanye West.
You told me. You did tell me Kanye. You did before the article came out.
Yeah.
Yes, he told me Kanye first, and it was a little. It was a little like, well, we'll see. And then the article came out and I sent it to Nick, my old editor, too.
Oh,
and we were like, holy shit, he said it.
Yeah.
He said it. He said it. So thank you for saying that.
Same thing. The media's been finding me. They just nothing I've said. I've made these wild claims about the military, Kanye, and they're so specific. They can take it and rip me apart easy. But I told them, misdiagnosed. I said, what happened to him, when, why, and how?
Well,
It's just, you can't argue with the facts.
Wild. You screamed about Kanye. No one listened to you. And now this article comes out and they're all crawling back. And you're like, well. I'm not crazy. I just collected the data and lived experiences.
But the sad part is, anybody who's ever hit the head has a ticking time bomb. If the symptoms show themselves, like, it's usually 10 years. Now, I just want people to understand what it is so you can get the help. And the help is simple. I got hop in my chamber. I was in there 1 hour and, I wasn't healed in an hour, don't get me wrong. But results were there in an hour. Like, I could see colors again and my cloudiness was gone for 6 days, the very first time. And they said that's really not the norm. It usually takes like 30 days of 2 treatments a day. But it's simple. People don't have to perish, and we can knock down this mass shooting rate as well as our suicide rates here. It's really what it is. It's just hiding in plain sight. And I'm like, I cannot be the only one who's figured this out. Yeah. And I'm not. Yeah. And that's why they're trying to silence it. They don't want it.
Well, I recently watched a documentary on, I believe it was HBO. I'm now forgetting about the platform, but it was about how the shooting prevention industry is like a $3 billion industry. So it's, at the end of the day, comes back to money. It's just like big pharma and insurance companies don't want cures getting out because that takes away money. It's the exact same thing. Now the mass shooting industry is $3 billion. The pro shooting industry, the gun industry, the NRA is billions of dollars. And people just like money, unfortunately, above human health.
But the truth is, like, if we address the real problem, guns aren't the issue. Yeah. Guns aren't the issue.
The guns aren't the issue, it's the head.
It's the head issue. Yeah.
I think our laws and our access to guns are a bit of an issue, but...
Well, it's happening worldwide now. And so it's not just here anymore. But, I'm not saying that...
But it is largely.
Absolutely.
It is largely.
Well, just like when World War II happened, the Japanese said they didn't come to America to invade us because every American has guns in the house. And, and so, we have a lot of guns here, but, if we didn't have guns, it'd be knives, and that's really the truth of what this illness is and what the sickness is, because...
The problem is with guns, you can get so many more, so much quicker.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm not advocating for guns, because I'm just not, absolutely. Yeah. Because, there's, one of the first people I spoke to about this condition, and I won't say their name or anything, but, they trust me, I was suicidal. But one person told me they have a hit list of people they want to murder, right? They have a special therapist whose only job is to keep them from murdering the people on that list. And so that's what this thing really is. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, whoa,
that's
what?
Yeah. I was about to say that's insane, but it
really is.
Unfortunately, he is biologically insane.
Well, and that person told me they didn't have any issues. I'm like, what? I had to really break it down and show that person, hey, wait a minute. This is what you were exposed to. This is what this is. And then when they showed it with their loved ones, they were like, oh my God, yes, I see it now. Mm-hmm. But same thing with me. The article, during COVID. I throw myself under the bus all the time. I was dying. I knew I couldn't kill myself, and I was getting lost in my own little community over in Tarzana. So I bought a lake house back in the Midwest, near my family, but far enough away where all I could do out there is I got a nice fishing lake, 100 yards from the backyard, or I got 4 acres of land where I can just cut the grass. That's all I could do all day out there. Nothing else. I can't get lost there. So there was a young lady I was seeing back here, which we just got engaged 3 weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations.
I got to show her. I proposed to her at her job. I was dressed like a wicked witch. She didn't know it was me, and I just gave her the business at her job.
Oh, my God.
And then at the last minute, I got on her knee. But it went viral because somebody posted it, and it started to go viral.
Oh, my God. Congratulations.
But let me take a step back. Okay, I almost lost my train of thought. We was talking about
where does she work?
Well, she actually works for this big company, but her mom has cancer right now.
Okay.
And so she took an extra job at Red Lobster just to make a little extra money to help back at home. Okay. Yeah, so Red Lobster over in... I think it's Woodland Hills area.
Okay, amazing. You got to show me the video.
I look like her favorite character. That was her favorite character.
So. The Wicked Witch is her favorite character?
She loves that Wicked movie.
Oh, my God.
If I hear the Wicked song one more time, I'm probably just going to
Then it was beautiful. Okay, I'm excited to see the video. But you were saying.
Oh, okay. So, during COVID.
Yes.
Okay. I had the lake house. So I'll come back and see her. And sometimes she comes see me. And so one time during COVID, like we're stuck in the house together. And she speaks on the phone with her family a lot. And they talk, she's from New York, they talk loud. Like, it was just killing me. Like,
you're speaking to another New Yorker.
Yeah, man. I was like, I think you guys are all born with megaphones in your throat.
Literally. That's why do you hear how loud I am? With the mics, it's when I do mic tests and stuff for my editor, I'm always like, so this is how I talk and this is how everyone else talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're born with megaphones. Yes.
Yeah, so during COVID, we're in the house together, we're stuck in it, everybody's isolating. And so I'm talking to her and I'm like, but the noise is killing me. I can't. Because she's just talking to her family, just nothing extreme. But it was too loud. I said, we might have to break up. I'm going back to the lake house. I need some peace and quiet. So when I'm over there, this article from the New York Times shows up called Sledhead. And it's talking about my teammates with all the symptoms they had. Some of the suicides, the Parkinson's, the seizures, strokes, Parkinson's, and there's the gamut of stuff. And so I read the article. And I get down on my knees and I thank God all those symptoms missed me. I said, I know I'm dealing with a lot, God, but at least I don't have this stuff for my teammates. So I'm not even relating my symptoms to what bobsledding was causing in everybody else.
Yeah.
And so I sent my girlfriend the article and she circled some stuff. And the first thing that jumped out at me was noise sensitivity. And I went, what? And I went back and looked at the article again and I checked a lot of those boxes. And I went, oh, my God. And that's when I figured out what my boogeyman really was.
CTE.
Yeah, and then a little bit after that, that's when Pablo's autopsy report came out, and he was in stage 4. And then I just became just advocate of just trying to scream fire. Just, guys, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
This is what it really is. And that's how it started. But, like, when I was living it, like I said, I prayed for death all day. That was my routine, praying for death. But if you ask me if I was depressed, I would say, no. Were you crazy? Why would I be depressed? You're disconnected with everything. And so like with Kanye, I give that guy a pass because I know what's on the inside. He doesn't know what he's doing. You can say he does all you want to, but until you live this, you understand. Like, that's why, think about it. Our American soldiers, 11 to 13,000 suicides a year. They go away and fight for our country, right? For our freedom, supposedly, right? And they come back and then they turn the gun on us because 31 to 35% is the mass shootings is our veterans. That's not rational. It's not rational at all. They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea what's going on. And so that's what this thing really is. And so you got to give Kanye give him a little bit of grace. And he still hasn't figured it out.
I always, that's my thing is I'm like, listen, it's not an excuse. It's an exclamation. Just give him a little bit of grace. Still, a lot of the things he's done is very, very, very wrong. I'm not pretending that it's not wrong, but just give him like
it's awful.
It's awful, but just give him like an ounce of grace.
Well, guess what?
Because no one gave me grace.
He didn't murder anybody. He hasn't murdered people.
Yeah.
This is what our soldiers are doing. Our veterans who fought for us are coming back here and murdering us. Like, what about those guys? Like, it's all the same stuff. You just get it different ways. The veterans are getting it from compression blasts in the face. If they're flying the fighter jets, they're getting it from the G-forces. The bobsledders, we getting it from concussions and the G-forces. Football players are getting it from the concussions. It's all the same thing, just a different way of getting it.
It's all the same, just a different way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you could come back and give us this today. I'm really excited to get this one out there. And just to reiterate for everyone, because we need to get this news out there, that's the point of this episode. One Man with a Chamber, at One Man with a Chamber on all social media. The link to the GoFundMe will be in the show notes.
And we're also a 501c3.
Oh, 501c3.
We are official, yes.
501c3, they're official. So if anyone wants to partner, if anyone wants to help them out, like this is really an opportunity to make some necessary and beautiful change in the world.
And all the buildings are in place. We have all the rental properties in place that we're going to turn for the housing. I have the building that we're going to put the facility in, and I'm also doting in my lake house will be part of it as well. I'm doing all of my stuff is going. I'm committed.
So you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go. I just need help with the build out
and give away a lot of yourself to do so, which is all access service will be supported by the universe. And I'm glad Pablo gave us this, and I'm glad you're continuing it.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to say, like the whole thing, like with Kanye, like I didn't even want to go see his documentary. I don't support anything that he does because it's been so bizarre, and I know it's mental health stuff. That's what I was thinking it was, and I never thought about the concussion part of it, and so I didn't want to be a part of promoting anything that's going to help him keep doing what he's doing, putting a shining light on it. But I'm glad I went to see the documentary because then it helped me connect the dots to the concussion, which is, think about it, anybody in the world, we've all been in car accidents. We've all got that ticking time bomb in our head.
And you connecting those thoughts has probably done a lot of good because now all these companies are reaching, or not companies, organizations, countries, whatever you want to call them, are reaching out to you because you screamed about Kanye before anyone else did.
Yeah.
So,
and the veterans.
And the veterans. And the veterans.
Look up treatnow.org, guys. It's out there. Like they're doing the same treatments that I'm doing. Okay. It's
Treatnow.org. I'll also put that in the show notes and the GoFundMe. Again, I'm keep saying it because it's so important. At One Man with the Chamber. I don't even really want to promote myself on this one because yours is so much more important. So yeah, I'm not going to. This has been Gabriella Rebranded, Win Most, Lose Some. Thank you so much for coming back and doing this today. This is going to be really great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.